I've got a new patient on the workbench here, and it's a big one. It's almost taking up all of my table space. So let's see in what condition it is. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've got a new restoration project here. And what we've got here is a nice big transistor radio from the end of the 60s. So this is a Telefunken Gavotte 201 from 1969. And it's a fully transistorized radio, obviously end of the 60s. And it sits somewhere toward the high end of the range of Telefunken tabletop radios. So this is a sort of design that was really popular in the second half of the 60s. There were lots of brands who were bringing out these types of radios in this form factor. And this is basically the continuation of the typical radio that you would have in the 50s or the 40s, just the simple, like the tube radios from the 50s, which were tabletop radios, just radio amplifier, tuner, amplifier, speaker, connection for a pickup input, and that's it. And this type of radio became, let's say, obsolete in the 70s and especially in the 80s. But end of the 60s, yeah, they were still around, and this model is a continuation, I think, from the Telefunken, I believe, 1691. Okay, yeah, there is an motorcycle event close by at the moment, so that's why we hear some motorcycles passing by. What I wanted to say, this is a continuation of a model, a Telefunken 1691, I think from the mid 60s, and this was still, yeah, it's basically the same design that they just continued and changed the model number, I think, maybe changed some components. So this model was available in four colors, white, red, green, or the one that I have is walnut. And it's not wood, it's plastic, and it's also, yeah, I think it's like a print. It's printed on there. It's like a fake wood grain finish. But honestly, I do think it looks pretty nice. That's why I picked it up. It looks really vintage. This is what vintage, it screams vintage for me. Yeah. So as I said, it's more or less somewhere towards the high end of the range. So here we have the different models from Telefunken from from 1969. So you have the smallest one is the Caprice, then you have the Caprice with the clock built in, then the Jubilate, which is more like a smaller version of this one. Then you have the Gavotte 201, that's this guy, and then the top end of the range is the Andante Stereo 101, and it's basically the same radio. I think it's technically like 90% the same, except that it's stereo, and this one is mono. So from the mono models, this is the high end of the range. But obviously, at that time, well, you also would have different types of models, different types of radios, because we are, yeah, almost in the 70s here. And if you go further in the catalog, then you'll notice that you see these portable radios also popping up, and this is going to be really popular in the 70s and the 80s, and that's basically the types of radios that are completely going to make this heavy non-portable tabletop design become obsolete. But hey, I do think it looks quite nice, like I already said. Let's go a bit through the functions that it has. Everything is really classic and really basic. There's nothing fancy here. So we've got our long wave, medium wave, short wave, and this is the tuner for the AM bands. The dial string seems to be still in place, so that's working fine. It also has a nice heavy weight to it, so I guess there's a flywheel inside. Same for the FM, that also has a nice weight to it. So I think so we have both separate tuners with two separate flywheels, I guess. There's no clutch mechanism, which sometimes would appear in the radios of the 50s. That's already good because that's something that can't break then. The FM goes only until 104, which is a bit disappointing considering that we are at 1969, but okay. And the string also is still attached. Here we have our band selectors, so we have the off switch, automatic frequency control, on or off. We have the pickup input, long wave, medium wave, short wave, and FM. And all those buttons, they feel quite nice, so I think they should still be okay. Here we've got our treble control, and that seems to be working, or at least, yeah, the button is. We got a bass control that has a bit less resistance to it. Yeah, we'll have to check if that's okay or not. And then here the volume control. That I think it's still working, but there is something off here. See, it stops at the top and then it goes. It's almost like the button is upside down or something. And it's also sticking out a bit further than the other two here. So I guess the potentiometer will still be working, but maybe there is something misaligned here. We'll have to check. And then here we have a meter for the signal strength. Obviously, no idea if that one is still okay. And then, yeah, we have a really nice big loudspeaker. According to the technical description that I just showed you, I think it's a 15 centimeter speaker, 15 by 10. Loudspeaker, oh yeah, 21 by 15 centimeters, so it's a big one. So I think that should sound pretty nice. But it's only one speaker, so we don't have multiple speakers. We don't have a separation for a treble, a tweeter and a woofer or a bass speaker. So don't expect any miracles. I do think it might sound fine, but yeah, we're not into hi-fi domain here. Let's have a look at the back. Okay, we're at the back here, and I always am having a hard time to get the entire radio in shot because it's so wide. It's incredible. Yeah, first thing I notice is this here. So we have some duct tape, probably used to tape the power cord here, and the power cord is really sticky because of the tape. So I'm just going to pull this off, and you see here the sticker has been damaged here from the duct tape that they put on there. That's a bit of a pity, but let's take this off, throw it away. Okay, we have here our voltage selector. It's at 200 volts. I don't know if this can go to 240, we'll have to see. Then we have here the ferrite antenna. That feels like it's still working. This is, I guess, the FM antenna connector. So yeah, first of all, we've got quite a bit of dust. So I expect also quite a bit of dust on the inside. These are the inputs. So you have here a tape input and a pickup input. Typically they are just connected together, but this one probably has an input and an output, and this one is only an input. Then we have here an antenna connection for an AM antenna, I guess. That's a ground. Then this is a dipole antenna, and then here we have connections for two external speakers. So as you see, very traditional set of connections, very similar to what we would have on a tube radio. Here is an indent or a cutout for a sort of selector switch, and I think the purpose of this would be that you could select if you have a magnet or a crystal based cartridge on your your record player, but there is nothing here. So maybe this back is reused from another model and it's not populated. There is nothing here. You can't, yeah, there is no switch here, so that's interesting. And then here, no idea what this means and who put it on there, if it was factory or not. No idea. Maybe it's a serial number, but it's a weird way to apply it with this kind of Dymo label. Really weird. Now, cosmetically, it is still quite okay. It's actually still looking really good. The only thing I see here is this scuff, where there is a bit of the paint here gone. And then around the edges here in some places, we have a bit of the brown paint also gone. You can clearly see it best here in the corner. So we might need some small touch-ups here and there. But yeah, the cabinet itself is in really nice condition. Obviously also, since this is not real wood, this is just painted plastic. I think it's a bit more resistant to scuffs and scratches than real wood. So, but hey, everything actually looks pretty nice. The front panel is also still great, apart from some scuffs here and there, but no dents. I think there is a small dent here somewhere, but I can't find it right now. So, yeah, I think this might clean up or restore really nicely. Now, the previous owner told me that the radio was still working, but that it needs a bit of adjustment or alignment. So I don't really know what to expect. But since he told me this, I'm just going to plug it in and see how it performs or what it still does. I plugged in the internal dipole antenna here, so we should at least get some reception. I did put it on dim bulb just to be sure, and we'll start with a quick 15 watt bulb, just to be 100% sure that we don't have any shorts. Okay, so dim bulb on, and it's not drawing any power because it's off, so that's already good. Let's immediately go for FM. Okay, whoa, it's making a lot of noise, and which is not really influenced by the volume control. Okay, a bit. Yeah, it's only getting 95 volts now, because I have a 15 watt bulb, and it's only drawing 4 watts. According to the specs, it should draw like 40 watts, I think. Yeah, 40 watts. And we also here have an indication that we should be able to put it on 240 volts, the voltage selector, but let's check that later. Okay, I'm gonna add another bulb. So I'm gonna add 25 watts. And we are going up now to 186 volts. I'm gonna leave it at this for the moment. So wait, I'm now at... Yeah. See, the volume control is doing something. But no matter how I put the volume control, the distortion coming through here is quite loud. Weird. Let's see if the tuner works. Not much. Damn. Nothing. Ha. So I do think that we're gonna have quite a bit of work here. So I'm now going to 207 volts. I'm not gonna go any higher than this, but still nothing. We could have a break in an antenna here or something. I don't know. Let's see if I got the antenna plugged in correctly. Yeah, it's not making a difference at all. Yeah, we might have a break in the antenna here. I don't know. So we don't have FM. Let's see if we have long wave. Oh, this noise just... Nothing either. Medium wave. Nothing. Shortwave. Yeah. I have to say it's we're at midday now, so I wouldn't expect anything on the AM bands anyway. But and it's with the internal ferrite rod. Okay, it's totally dead. It's making a lot of noise, but no reception on any of the bands. Yep. Okay, let's turn it off. Okay, so that's gonna prove a bit of a reparation project, I think. I don't know what definition you can have of saying it still works, but this is not into my range of, let's say, working condition. I wouldn't define this radio as it still works, but okay. Okay, so time to open it up, I guess, and have a look what's inside. So I think the first thing we need to do here is to take off the knobs. And I'm not sure if that's gonna work, but I think we need to take them off. Yeah, this one is coming off, I think. I'm afraid to damage something because everything is plastic, eh? So the entire casing is plastic, only this cover plate is metal. Ah, that's already one. Oh. Okay, so now I have something to hold back the chassis. So I should be able to put a bit more force on the chassis now. Yeah. Oops, I bumped the camera. Yeah, this one I think is also budging, but it's difficult to get a grip on them. No. So you don't want to be using a screwdriver to pry these loose, because you'll damage the knob and the faceplate. So I'm gonna use a small piece of cloth here, get it in the back, behind the knob, and see if we can pull it out. Man, no, we can't. This knob is really stuck. Jesus. Well, this is not working. Nope. Okay, so I've got a bigger and hopefully stronger piece here. What the hell? I think I'm gaining a bit, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I can see the shaft. So I think it's coming off, but it takes me a scary amount of force to get this off, so I hope I'm not damaging anything. Oh, this is scary. Especially when you know that everything here is made out of plastic. Yeah, I think I got it. Ha! Man! This is also plastic. Wait, where did the felt go? Ah, here. Here is the piece of felt. And now we have to do that all again with the bottom one, which is even tougher because that one is completely stuck. No. I wanted to say it's completely tight against the cabinet, but... Oh, it's coming off. Yeah, come on. Oh. All right. First challenge done. Okay, so next step is getting the chassis loose, and they decided to go for nuts here instead of simple screws. Yeah, because why make things easy when you can make things complicated? I think they are like 14 millimeter, but it's really difficult to get the wrench on here because these edges. But anyway, I just need to loosen them a bit, and then you can untighten them with your fingers. So I'm gonna do... Whoa. What's this? Well, that's the first time. That's a first for me. Okay. I'm gonna untighten 3 out of 4, and then the fourth one. Otherwise the chassis, I guess, will just fall out. The fourth one I'm gonna do while the radio is in a normal position. Let me unclip the speaker here. And now the chassis should come out. Okay, so let's see what happens when I loosen these screws, because maybe that detaches the chassis from these two metal mounts that are here mounted on the bottom. So does this now? Yeah, I was looking a bit too far. So it's just simply these two screws here, and the ones in the bottom of the chassis, they can stay there. They are for the mount. So you only have to loosen these two, and then this just slides out, I guess. Yeah. I'm gonna lift it with the transformer. That seems a bit safer. It's catching here behind the antenna. Whoa. Careful. All right. I've got everything out. So I'm gonna put the cabinet aside for the moment. I'm just going to put these things back here. You can see now I took off the entire mounts and they don't really need to come off, and apart from cleaning. So I've been dusting it off a bit, the chassis and the PCBs, and just preliminary, just so that it's a bit cleaner to work on. It does come off quite easily, just a small layer of dust. There is not really dirt or grime on the chassis, which is actually quite nice because it means that it's all going to clean up very well and that it's gonna look great in the end. Yeah, where do we start with this? So, like they always say when you're repairing electronics, start with the power supply first. So I guess that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I just plugged it in again, and there seems to be at least something working. I think I'm on long wave now, and see. Okay, I do have my cell phone again disturbing the signal, but at least it's receiving on AM. On FM I don't get anything. See, but reception is really bad. But yeah, I'm gonna turn it off again. You never know. So at least it's doing something. It's not completely dead. So yeah, let there be light. I swapped both dial lamps. What's also interesting is that the originals, which were both blown, they have this really nice frosted glass. See? I have no idea if this is still available, but these two were both original from the factory, I guess, and they have both a really nice dome, a glass dome. But yeah, for the moment, just clear bulbs will have to do. I've been checking a bit on the power supply. I can't find anything odd at first sight. I checked the resistors here, they are fine. The capacitor is also more or less fine. I will still swap it with, well, the filter capacitor. I will still swap it, but it still tests okay. I now here connected my signal generator to the pickup input, and then the radio, mind you, the radio at the moment is on pickup input, so we're still getting a lot of noise and distortion here from somewhere, which is not affected by the volume knob, which is interesting. So we'll have to hunt down where that's coming from. But if I connect the signal generator to the pickup input, see, you can clearly hear the sound. And it's affected by the volume. Whoa! And it distorts quite badly if I open up the volume. So I think we have something wrong in our switching, or in our amplifier, or in our power supply. Power supply at first sight seems to be working fine, and there is not much to the power supply. It's really simple. So I think there is something wrong in the amp. So what I'm gonna do now is, yeah, let me first turn this off. Further double check everything in the power supply. Also check the selenium rectifier. See, that's this guy over here. At first sight it also seemed to be still working okay, but I'm gonna check it more internally anyway. Probably replace the filter capacitor, and then the next step is we're gonna move on to the amplifier. I think the amplifier is over here, and see if the switches need to be cleaned. So those are the next things for this radio. So yeah, I think I know what to do, and I'm gonna leave the video at this. I'll come back to you when I have a bit more progress. So I'd like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and then I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.